What is up, guys? So this is going to be my synopsis breakdown for The Flash, season 11, titled We Fall, True Colors. It's cool because I already made a synopsis breakdown for episode 13 of Supergirl. Click in the top right corner of the video for that, and I will be making that in mind. Let's get into the breakdown. I mean, not the breakdown is what I meant to say, and once I do, I will probably put a card in the top right corner for that. So click in the top right corner for that. If it's not there, that means I haven't made it yet, or I just forgot to put it there. But with all that in mind, let's get into the synopsis breakdown of The Flash. So, The Flash, Season 4, Episode 13, titled True Colors, and the synopsis reads, after hearing that Ammonite Black has struck a deal to buy all of the metahumans in Iron Heights, Barry must decide if he should expose his powers in order to save his cellmates. After a visit from an old friend, Ralph is reminded of his shady past and wonders if he's really a changed man. So, in the beginning, the synopsis says that Ammonite Black is in this episode. That actually makes me a little less excited for this episode than I would be for a normal Flash episode. Despite the rest of the synopsis, that looks pretty great. There's just the fact that Ammonite Black, aka Blacksmith, is in this episode makes me not that excited, because Ammonite Black is such a bad villain. Both of the episodes she was in. The first one, it was a bad episode. The second one was a pretty great episode. But she didn't help either of those episodes become better. Like in episode 5, Girls Night Out, she did not help the episode at all. She was just so unthreatening and cheesy and just so annoying. And then in Don't Run, she was probably the worst part of that episode. That episode was great in my opinion, but the B plot with Killer Frost and her is probably, and by probably I mean definitely, the worst part of that episode. So seeing that Ammonite Black is in this episode isn't exactly exciting in any way, in any stretch of the word. The synopsis says that Ammonite has struck a deal to buy all of the metahumans in Iron Heights. The reason she's doing this is because that she runs an underground metahuman organization. And she right now all she has is herself and that guy with the weird tongue eye, and she was trying to recruit Killer Frost, but it seems like that's all she has right now. She has said that she has a whole organization, but we haven't seen it, which is what makes her so unthreatening some of the time. That, and also the fact that her powers are so lame. But that's why she's buying these metahumans from Iron Heights. It's because she is trying to build her criminal organization, which will probably be like the B plot, the B villain plot of this season that pops up every 4 episodes or something like that, where Ammonite Black and a bunch of her metahumans fights Team Flash, probably something like that. Again, Ammonite Black is a boring character. She's a bad villain, which is why I'm not excited for this part of the episode. But like I said, other than Ammonite Black being in the episode, the synopsis, or the episode according to the synopsis, actually looks pretty great, because it says Barry must decide if he should expose his powers in order to save his cellmates. That will be a pretty interesting storyline. Do I think he will expose his powers? He'll probably use it here and there without, like, he goes too fast for people to see him, like he did in episode 10, where he went so fast that he was able to have a minute conversation in less than a millisecond. So I'm guessing he could save some people here and there without exposing his powers completely. Also, him exposing his powers in this episode wouldn't really make any sense, because he had this whole storyline in episode 10 where he could have exposed his powers and it would have saved him from a life in prison at all, and he didn't. So if they were just to reveal his powers in this episode, it wouldn't really make sense. It would take away some tension from the trial of the Flash. Also, if they wanted to change the status quo of the show so that the whole world knew that Barry Allen was the Flash, the trial of the Flash was the perfect opportunity to do that. This right here isn't the best opportunity at all, because this episode looks to be a throwaway episode with not a lot of big things to it. So here is not a place that he would expose his powers to the world, or even his cellmates, because his cellmates are clearly bad people because they're in jail, or at least most of them are bad people. So if he was to reveal his powers to them, they would tell everyone in the world. They would tell people through the glass in prison. And those two people would tell the media, it would be out. It would be out, and this is not a type of episode that they would do that. And I doubt they'll ever do that ever. But if they were, the trial of the Flash was the perfect opportunity. But speaking of the trial of the Flash, this episode continues that storyline, or at least the storyline of Barry being in prison and framed for murder. That means the storyline lasts for 4 episodes in total, or maybe even 5, because that means that the end of episode 9 till episode 13 at least. But I'm not going to really include episode 9 because that was just a little bit of that. But from episode 10 to 13 is 4 full episodes, and that is the least amount of episodes that will feature the trial of the Flash or Barry being in prison framed for murder storyline, which is pretty insane. That's basically a status quo shift. Him being in prison is the new status quo for the Flash right now, which is pretty insane and ballsy. They usually don't do these type of ballsy things like this, but it seems like they are, and Barry will probably get out of prison in a couple episodes, like episode 16 or 17, but until then, I think 4 episodes is enough for something to be a new status quo, which is, again, like I said, pretty ballsy. The synopsis continues after a visit from an old friend. Ralph is reminded of his shady past. So I don't know who this old friend is because we don't know anything about Ralph other than the fact that he framed somebody for murder that he knew was guilty, and Barry ratted out on him. We don't know anything about his past. So this friend from the past could be anybody. It could even be somebody from the comics or somebody. It could even be Sue Dibney, or whatever her maiden name is, Sue Dibney being Ralph's wife. It could be her. It could be anybody. But who I'm guessing it is, because it reminds him of his shady past, is his partner from when he was on the CCPD. That's probably who it is. He was on the CCPD with a partner, and then this old friend of his, being his partner, comes back to Central City and meets him and reminds him of his shady past, because seeing his old partner would remind him of when he was a cop and when he was a detective and when he framed that guy for murder even though he knew he was guilty. And then he wonders if he's really a changed man. This is something that's very interesting to me, and it's actually something I'm excited to see because Hartley Sawyer is such a good actor when it comes to these real moments and not comedic moments. I've mentioned this multiple times in my top 10 moments of the week 10 video, and I mentioned it in my The Flash season 4 episode 10 review video, because in both those videos I talked about that scene where Ralph told Joe what will happen if he frames Marlise DeVoe, and in that scene he is amazing. Hartley Sawyer knocks it out of the park. And the same goes for in episode 4 when he had that argument with Barry about whether or not he should have framed. Whether or not Barry should have ratted him out for framing that guy. You can see the evolution of his character, going from him arguing that he shouldn't have been ratted out to him agreeing that he did the wrong thing, and then here in this episode wondering if he's really a changed man and being reminded of his shady past. But like I said, Hartley Sawyer knocks it out of the park knocked it out of the park in both those scenes. So he will probably knock it out of the park in these scenes as well, where he wonders if he's really a changed man, which will probably be a lot of greatly acted, real moments that aren't comedic, which Hartley Sawyer does so well, and it's one of the main reasons why I love Ralph Dibney's character so much. So what do I think about the episode? The Amelia Black part, I'm not excited for. I'm just not excited to see her at all, because she's such a boring, bland, also cringy and cheesy villain. Her powers are threatening as hell. Every episode she's in, she just makes the episode worse, which is saying a lot about episode 5. So that part of the episode I'm not that excited to see, but the rest of it looks really great, especially the Ralph Dibney part, because of what I said, because Hartley Sawyer is such a great actor in those scenes, and because of the progression of his character, going from saying that he shouldn't have been ratted out on, and then saying he did the wrong thing, and then saying here, and then just thinking is he actually a good man. That's something I'm really interested in, and then something I'm neutral on really is the Flash, is the Barry Allen part. I like the fact that the trial or the storyline is still going on, but the fact that he's contemplating saving people and like giving away his powers, or telling people he has powers, it's not gonna happen, which is why that's not a really interesting part of the synopsis. But anyway, let me know what you thought about the synopsis and this episode in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.